All right, let's dive into one of the most popular and honestly most strategic competitions out there for students, public forum debate. We're going to break down all the rules of the game.
At its core, public forum seems pretty simple, right? You've got one topic, two teams facing off, and a judge who decides the winner. But trust me, underneath this simple setup is a really complex game of research, strategy, and, of course, persuasion.
So what is this game exactly? Well, you'll hear it called public forum, or just PF for short. It's a partner debate, so you've got two people on a team. And here's the catch. You have to be ready to argue both for and against the topic. You don't just get to pick a side you like, you gotta master the whole issue inside and out.
Now, in the debate world, we don't just call it the topic. It's got a fancier, more official name, the resolution. This is the statement that one team, the pro team, will support and the other team, the con team, will argue against. It's the central battleground for the entire debate.
And here's what keeps things really interesting. You're not stuck with the same resolution all year. Oh no, the topics change every month or two. This forces debaters to constantly be on their toes, researching new and relevant current events. It never gets stale.
And we're not talking about simple, abstract ideas here. These topics are the real deal. Just look at some of these past resolutions. They're tackling complex international relations, global economics, social policy. These are the kinds of issues that world leaders and experts are grappling with right now.
Okay, so you've done your homework. You've researched both sides of the resolution. You walk into the debate room ready to go. So how does it all kick off? With something incredibly low-tech, a simple coin toss. But don't let the simplicity fool you. This little flip has huge strategic consequences.
The process itself is as basic as it gets. One team flips the coin, the other calls heads or tails. Whoever wins gets to make a very important choice. The loser? Well, they get whatever option is left over. Simple procedure, but the decision that follows is anything but.
And here is that big choice. The winner of the coin toss can choose one of two things. They can either pick their side, pro, arguing for the resolution, or con, arguing against it. Or they can pick their speaking order. Do they want to speak first or second? It's a fascinating dilemma. Do you take the side you feel stronger on, or do you pick the speaking position that you think gives you a tactical advantage, like getting the last word?
All right, the coin toss is done, sides and speaking positions are set. Now, the debate itself begins. And it's not a free-for-all. It follows a very strict, very specific order of speeches. Let's walk through the entire anatomy of a public forum round, step by step.
Think of this as the roadmap for the debate. You can see there's a pattern here. You have a block of speeches followed by a questioning period called a crossfire. This happens a couple of times before we get to the final closing arguments. Let's break down exactly what happens in each part. We kick things off with the constructive speeches. The first speaker from each team gets 4 minutes to lay out their case. This is where you present all your major arguments and evidence. It's your opening offensive, your chance to build the entire foundation that you'll defend for the rest of the round. As soon as both of those speeches are done, we get our first head-to-head clash. It's called the first crossfire. For 3 minutes, those two first speakers get to ask each other questions. The goal here is to find weaknesses in your opponent's case, clarify things for the judge, and set your partner up for their big speech. Next up, the second speakers from each team get their turn with the rebuttal speeches. Now the focus does a complete 180. You're not building your own case anymore. Your job for these 4 minutes is all about tearing down your opponent's case. This is where you directly attack their arguments and evidence. It's pure defense, and it's where the debate really starts to clash.
And you guessed it. After the rebuttals, we get another crossfire. This time, it's the second speakers who face off for 3 minutes. They'll go back and forth, defending the attacks they just made and poking more holes in their opponent's logic. Okay, now we're in the home stretch. This is where the debate gets condensed. First, the summary speeches boil everything down to the most critical points. Then you have the grand crossfire. It can get a little chaotic, where all 4 debaters jump in for 3 minutes of questions. And finally, it all wraps up with the final focus, where each team gets 2 minutes to make their last pitch to the judge, explaining exactly why they won.
So that's the flow of the speeches. But there are a couple of other key rules that really affect the game. You can think of them like the timeouts and the instant replays in a sports match. They're absolutely crucial.
First up is prep time. Each team gets a grand total of 3 minutes of preparation time that they can use throughout the entire debate. Now, 3 minutes might not sound like a lot, but believe me, in the heat of a round, every second is gold.
How you use this time can make or break your next speech. And the great thing is, it's super flexible. You can use it whenever you want, before any of your team speeches. You can take a full minute before one speech, 30 seconds before another. It's all up to you. A really common strategy is to use a bit of prep time to ask for an opponent's evidence so you can read it yourself.
Speaking of evidence, let's clear up a bit of jargon you're going to hear all the time. The word card. No, it's not a playing card. It's not a credit card. In debate, a card is simply a piece of evidence. It's the fundamental building block of any argument.
So what is a card really? It's pretty straightforward. It's just a direct quote taken from a credible source, like a news article, a study, or a book. And debaters will usually highlight the most powerful parts of the quote so they can read it quickly in a speech.
And this is where the accountability comes in. You can't just make stuff up. If your opponent reads a piece of evidence that sounds a little fishy, or you think they're taking it out of context, you can literally say, "Can I see that card?" and they have to give it to you. It's a built-in fact-checking system. Even the judge can ask to see evidence after the round is over to help them make their decision.
So, we've gone through the whole structure, the speeches, the special rules, the evidence. But what is it all building towards? What's the end game? Well, it all leads to one final moment. One last chance to make your case to the judge.
Everything comes down to this, the final focus. This isn't the time to bring up new arguments. Your job in these last 2 minutes is to be a storyteller. You need to tell the judge the story of the round from your perspective and give them the exact reasons, the voting issues, why they should sign the ballot for your team.
And that's pretty much the blueprint for a public forum debate round. Knowing the structure, knowing the rules, that's step one. But that's just the beginning, isn't it? The real challenge, the real art form, is figuring out how to master persuasion. Knowing the rules of the game is one thing, but knowing how to play it to win? Well, that's everything.